Something big is happening in the Hamilton housing market, and it's something we haven't really seen in over a decade. Sales have dropped to one of the lowest November levels in more than 15 years. Prices have continued to slide and inventory continues to build, even though new listings are actually down. So in today's video, I'm breaking down what happened in November in Hamilton now that we're in December 2025, moving into the new year soon. I'll also talk about what this really means for buyers and sellers in the Hamilton area and which neighborhoods stood out this month. Let's get into it. According to Cornerstone's November report, we saw 414 sales in the month of November. That's down 15% year over year and well below the long-term November trend. Like I said, this is one of the lowest November sales counts in more than a decade. We did have 821 new homes hit the market, which is down 6%. So it's not necessarily that sellers are flooding the market still, it's just that demand still hasn't showed up. Those have added to the overall number of homes on the market of 2,241. That's up 13% from the same time last year. This is why the market still feels heavy. Buyers have choice and sellers feel the competition. And though we expected to see an increase in the fall, as we tend to do versus the summer, that never really happened. And it's pretty much over because we're now in December. People are forgetting about real estate. They're thinking about their holiday plans and putting off any real estate plans until New Year. But I will say, if you are a savvy buyer, this time of year is a fantastic time to be shopping. Moving forward, we have 5.4 months of supply. That's up 33% from last year. What that means is that we are definitely in a buyer's market, as if we didn't already know that. But that really does just solidify it. And the average days on market is way up 24% to 50 days. That means that the homes that do sell take an average of 50 days to sell, which is big compared to what we're used to. I just sold a property, actually closing is today. We were able to sell it in under 40, so that feels good. And everyone's favorite number, the average price, which is $746,377. That's down just 5% from last year. So yes, prices have continued to kind of come down, but not in any drastic way. It's been really a slow grind down. Are we at the bottom? Not necessarily. They may continue to go down, but like I said, they haven't just fallen off a cliff like some of the headlines may make you think, even though sales are down. Now, the benchmark price is $688,300. That is the price that represents the most common home, whereas your average price can be brought up by some of the surrounding areas that have more expensive homes. They'll bring that overall average up. So benchmark of 688 sounds a little more reasonable for some buyers. So a couple things worth highlighting. Like I said, the months of supply, 5.5 months, up 33%. That gives buyers a lot to choose from. And it means sellers need to be strategic when pricing. I just went through this with a client. I told them the price that I thought that they should list at. They at first agreed, and then when it came time to list, they wanted to just give it a shot. Let's try $25,000 over. What's the harm in that, right? We'll just see what happens, and if not, we'll bring it down. What the people don't understand necessarily, though, is that first 7 to 14 days are crucial in a listing. That's when you get all the time and energy and people looking at your property. That's when you're going to get offers, if you're going to get any. If you decide to just try that expensive price and then come back, maybe in a couple weeks, we'll price it where you're saying now, and then those people will come in then, right? That's not the way it works, because by that time the prices may have come down and now you're now chasing the market down, and that's the thing you want to avoid. I can't stress this enough. We got to price strategically if you want to sell in this market. Overpricing by just 2 or 3% can push you into months of slow activity because you just become one of the many that are sitting down here not getting looked at. And every month there's more piling on. Presentation, repairs, staging, all these things make a difference, and pricing, please. Next, we have condo apartment sales, which are down over 40%. This was by far the steepest decline in any property type. Benchmark condo prices are down 12%, with the average being down 20%. Condos are feeling the impact. I just did a whole video about condos and condo owners and what they can do if they're feeling stuck. Higher condo fees, higher interest rates, investors struggling with negative cash flow, more units hitting the market. This is a segment where first-time home buyers or investors can be really aggressive right now if they like. Now, a few neighborhoods that stood out. Hamilton West days on market is up to 75. That means it's taking an average of 75 days for homes to sell in Hamilton West. That's up 90%. This area is moving the slowest, probably driven by higher student-oriented inventory. And they tend to be higher priced as well. Buyers are being more picky in that area, but that could present some opportunity as well. Waterdown days on market are 59. That's up 35%. Ancaster days on market, 51. That's up as well. Higher end markets are taking longer to find the right buyer, which makes sense. Now, the strong performer, as always, Hamilton Mountain. 121 sales, the strongest performing market by far. Sales activity there actually increased 3.5%, where everywhere else it slid. Prices are still down 7%, but it's the most balanced area of the city. Stoney Creek, which has taken quite a bit of a hit lately, their average prices actually ticked up just over 1%. There's still demand there for detached homes under 900,000. Sales are down 10%, but that's better than most districts. And then you have Flamborough, where the average price is actually up 9%. Now again, some of the softer or declining markets are Hamilton West. Sales down 55%. That's the biggest drop in the city. Buyers have huge leverage here. In Waterdown, prices are down 13.5%. In Hamilton East, prices are down almost 15%. This is a great pocket for first-time home buyers. Now, if we break it down by property type, detached homes, the sales sat pretty flat, but prices are down 7%. This segment is stable for now, but trending downwards. And that's what happened in Toronto. The detached market was the last to kind of take the big hit. And we're starting to really see that in Toronto now. Semi-detached sales are down 35%. Average price is down 24%, one of the sharpest drops. This shows that those entry-level buyers are still being very cautious, because that's where you'd find a lot of them entering. As well as townhomes, where sales are down almost 40%. Prices down 9%. But because there was a lot of these new builds and stuff like that, those are not getting the attention necessarily. There's a lot of those sitting. And condo apartments, like I said, have taken the biggest hit. Inventory is up, prices are down, so options there. So for buyers, this is really one of the most advantageous markets we've seen in 10 years. I know the headlines are causing fear for a lot of people, and a lot of people are saying that things aren't going to come back anytime soon, and that very well may be true. You should never be buying for the short term though. So you shouldn't worry that prices go down a little bit next year and you should have waited till then. You shouldn't be trying to time the market like that. I bought a year and a half to 2 years ago, and I wish I had waited. But the fact is that I didn't. I bought when I did, and that's fine. In 10 years, I'll be fine, because I plan to live here and raise my family till then. The goal wasn't to make a bunch of money on my house, and it shouldn't be for you either if you're not an investor. So remember, you can negotiate price. You can have terms. I've done a bunch of conditional of sale of property deals recently, and those are being accepted no problem now. And what that means is, if I'm a seller looking at buying my new property, I put a condition saying that I will buy this property conditional on selling my property. That's becoming a very normal thing. It doesn't always work out, because sometimes there's the domino effect of that seller also having that same deal with the next house they're buying. So it is a bit of a tricky game to play, but it's a real option out there right now. And one of the biggest things is you can step into neighborhoods that a couple years ago you wouldn't have even considered. And for sellers, selling is absolutely possible. But you got to do a few certain things, and it's not going to be automatic. You simply must price aligned with today's market. And not only that, you have to take into consideration maybe a couple months down the line. You can't price based on what was selling 3 months ago. That's not what's happening now. So you have to be realistic about that. I'm dealing with many sellers that are not being realistic about it, and it's unfortunate because their house end up sitting, and then they end up not being happy with the outcome when this had been discussed from the beginning. But such is life. This is part of the market that we're in. The biggest thing is presentation, staging if necessary, doing any repairs, pricing properly, and being realistic. And also understanding your little micro market. It really depends on what part of the city you're in, as you can see from some of the numbers that I just discussed. Hamilton's market is ever shifting. It's not collapsing. It has corrected, but it will balance out in the long run. So what you need to do is what's best for you. Live your life. Don't worry too much about what's going on in the day-to-day. Don't worry about the headlines. Have a conversation with an agent that clicks with you, and make a plan and buy a home, if that's something you're looking to do. If not, and you're just here for fun, well, I'm glad you joined. If I can be of any help now or in the future, even if it's just to pick my brain, feel free to reach out. There's a link below. Until then, I'll see you on the next one.